Yeah, I'll say if I have no family and I kick the bucket, do whatever you want to my. I don't care.
Yeah.
Throw me in the street. Fill a pothole with me. I don't care. Whatever, man. At least do some good. Maybe you can do some good with my body. Welcome to Into the Pit, the officially unofficial podcast for The Pit on HBO Max. I'm Jim. And today... yeah, sorry, I usually pause there and wait for Aaron. This is the second week, though, that we've been on the air together. I should know how to do this already. We're talking season 2, episode 10. It's 4 p.m. We're, 2/3 of the way through a shift? It's a 15-episode season.
Yeah,
so.
it goes till 9 p.m., I believe, if I remember the first season correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's about the time that McKay is going to get off and go get some, I guess. We'll see. We'll see. I have with me today Pete. You recognize Pete from last week. Hey, Pete, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
What'd you think of this episode, the 4 p.m. episode?
You know, I have a question, and it is, has anything good ever happened at 4 p.m.? Like, 4 p.m. is just the worst time, I think, in the day. What are your feelings about this hour of the actual day?
I remember fondly 4 p.m. from when I had a desk job. When I was a developer, I remember 4 p.m.'s like, okay, I made it through 7. I can get through this last hour.
Yeah, you and I are not the same. Like that's just like, man, I can't take it. Like, I guess there's two ways you can experience it, right? You could be like, all right, it's almost over, or I can't believe I still have another hour. I guess I found myself more in that latter group. Gotcha.
But I can't think of anything else good that happens at 4 p.m. You're not eating dinner. You don't have anything tasty. It's too early to drink. I don't know. 4 p.m. is bad.
Yeah. But I mean, this episode, it kind of is a reflection of that. I was kind of expecting something to happen. It didn't really materialize, but there's some interesting stuff going on, and like I guess like planting some seeds, laying some tracks, something like that. I thought the one scene I really liked was whenever they do the slash trach, and we find out Dr. Al had never done one, and she's still challenging herself doing this thing, and she pulls it off, and sort of have that back and forth, and she, Garcia is like, yeah, we'll have to clean up your mess. And she comes back with, or maybe they'll thank us for not letting him die, and I thought that was one of those, that's one of those little back and forth, like one of those little exchanges that exist in a TV show like this that really kind of can define the entire hour and make it worth it. So that's kind of where I was at with it. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I like that scene too. I mean, it shows like how you can sort of get lost in the weeds and forget sort of the end goal of everything, right? It's not to do it perfect by the book. It's to save the patient's life. So we do what we got to do.
Yeah, it's literally life and death. Sometimes you do forget that when you're watching.
Right. It's not about, it's going to be hard to stitch this person back up. It's like, well, he had 60 seconds to live and we kind of needed to. So
yeah, you can't stitch him up at all if he's dead.
Right. I like this episode quite a bit. I don't think there's a lot of patient stuff to talk about. We get a few new ones, and some of them are interesting. I don't know how you feel about it, but it felt in places to me like sort of a horror, like slasher film where you've got Ogilvy juggling a leg while the rest of them are doing things like those kind of, I guess, prosthetic things are something I expect to see in a horror film.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, so we'll come back and talk about it. I have some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I have found that fun. And there are some other patients to talk about. I think Roxy is like the big one that This feels like it's finally coming to a head. We're going to get one more episode with her where she will expire, and we'll see how that goes.
And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head last week when you said it feels a little bit like it's gone on for too long. Just because you know what's going to happen. It's so inevitable that I don't know. I feel like as a viewer, you've already kind of braced yourself for this moment. So like the longer it takes to actually get to that moment, the less of a payoff it has.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I do have some thoughts on that too, which maybe we'll get to here in a second. Because they could be doing something a little more clever, or at least I want to give them credit because the show is so good. So I think we should just start up with a couple of follow-ups on cases that, the doctors are still keeping track of. So we sort of still need to keep track of, like the very large man, Mr. Knox. There's been no update on him. They don't know if they saved him, if he made it through surgery or not. We'll probably find out next episode. I don't know. I mean, this surgery could take hours, right? That's not unheard of.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit last week. I mean, it feels like it was a long time ago because it's a couple episodes back, but it's really only been an hour or so since he went upstairs.
Right. Yeah. So who knows what the status of that is? Maybe we'll definitely find out by the end of the season. I can't see the surgery taking 12 hours, but I could see it taking 3.
Yep.
We got the fireworks kid blew off his fingers. He's still waiting for surgery. I guess all the surgeons are working on Mr. Knox, but no movement on that, and still nothing for baby Jane Doe. Social workers have not contacted them back yet, but we'll get there. And then we have real patients.
Yeah, I did just want to say that, because before I was just sort of watching casually, I really focused in on the way that they interjected the I think it's just like, it's just a small scene with Robbie and Dana in front of the board where he quickly gives us the check-in on all these characters. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the way they're keeping everybody up to speed on the ones that have already left.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a mention here or there, like a sentence, but important to keep an eye on that. I really, of those 3, I guess the thing that I care most about is Mr. Knox. I want to see how it goes with him.
Absolutely.
Because, he was probably the most affecting of those patients. Speaking of affecting patients, though, I actually really like what they've done with Roxy. Yes, it dragged a little bit in the middle. I wonder if that is not the point, though, because like when I look at her, I see a woman who has resigned herself to death and is just sort of waiting for it. And I wonder if they are not playing with that with us as an audience to sort of feel that too. Like, yes, we know where this is going. Can we please just get on with it? Do you feel me there? Is that too audacious of an experiment, or am I giving them too much credit for trying something they're not trying?
I mean, that's an interesting take. I thought, I don't know. That didn't cross my mind, but I think that if they could pull that off, it would be pretty impressive.
Well, I just thought of it this episode because it started to affect me again. I started to really feel for Roxy as like the end is now here.
Yeah, and that is the point of that whole situation, right? Is that he's saying that the best outcome for her situation is for her to die pain-free. Mm-hmm. Like that, nobody, everybody wants to save everyone's lives, but this is a situation where they just can't do that.
Yeah. And it seems like she's made peace with it, but I think, how can you? I mean,
that'd be the qualifier I would add, is that she's made peace with it as much as a person can. Right. Then again, she's going to look at her son and know that he's going to, she's not going to be there for him as he grows up and all these other things. So yeah, it's, even though that it is the best outcome, it's a painful wait until it actually comes together. That could be a good angle for it. You know, there's a built-in contrast here with Louis, because you thought in that situation he was going to make it out. You know, and so his death was a huge surprise in a way. And then you had his body there. His body, I think they updated it. It's still there right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as I know.
There's some interesting stuff they could do there. I mean, I think it's terribly sad. I just feel like, for me, like I said, I just sort of already made peace with, like, yeah, this is awful, you know, like, yeah, this is what happens when you get cancer. And it, you know, and I feel a lot about this idea of just like wanting to not feel the pain and not wanting to leave your family, and just how, you know, that suffering that she's doing isn't really helping anyone. I mean, that's sort of the that's the realization she's had by coming to the ER. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they wrap it all up. I guess I went in thinking about what you were saying, and maybe it's just, you know, I find it a little bit rough.
No, I
because
get it.
It is so sad, you know, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
I don't think it would work for me if it wasn't for this older kid that they've got here. Like the advice that McKay gives him is just like so spot on. You know, it comes from a place of wisdom. The kid is scared. The kid doesn't know what to do. She has seen this, I'm sure, 1,000 times, right? Yeah. She might have even gone through something like this herself, but she tells him, like, if you don't, she doesn't even force it on him. Like, that's the thing I love about it so much, is she lets it totally be his call, but lets him know, I think if you don't do this, you might regret it for a long time. And that was just like a perfect tone to hit, and then say, I don't know, it's up to you. Do what you want.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, I think she was great. And I do wonder if once Roxy finally goes, they will do anything like they did for Louis, because a lot of doctors at this point are really invested in this patient. Or at least, I mean, McKay is very invested, and she's going to feel this hard, I think.
Yeah, I think that it'll have a totally different feel. Like,
because this is not the one who's beloved by everyone, right?
Yeah, so I hope they do. I hope they do something.
Yeah. Let's move over to, I don't know that they ever gave this woman a name. Severed leg woman.
I didn't catch one. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay,
I don't have anything.
She fell. So she's one of the water slide victims. She fell onto a metal fence, cleanly severed her leg. But it does look like there's a good chance they can reattach it, thanks to one of the surgeons. This is one of those injuries that's like, I don't ever want this to happen to me, but not in the same way that we'll talk about here with the other victim of the water slide. This is more like a cartoon injury to me. And I know it's not. I know this happens to real people every single day, but this is like an injury that I feel would be very difficult to have happen to you, as opposed to some of the others I see on this show, which I'm like, oh yeah, no, that could happen to me any given day of the week.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad luck that has to compound in order for this to happen.
Yeah, so this feels like a slasher film to me, not a scary thing that I might experience.
I was just there was a couple of things in this one. Like, for one, whenever I saw the leg, they can actually, like, your whole leg can be cut off like that, and they can just put it back on. Like, I would have thought that would be really rare, if ever.
Yeah, well, Dr. G did not write in about that one, unfortunately.
Like digits and things like that, you can understand because it's sort of a manageable amount of things you have to reconnect. But a leg, it just seems like, oh, if you lose that, you lost it. Sorry, but
yeah, I don't know what they do about that sciatic nerve. Like, they can reconnect the nerves there. Do they grow back together? and start functioning again.
That's what I'm saying. It just seems like there's so many things that would have to, that you would have to do, like to just. It's just such a big piece of human flesh with a complex system inside of it.
It's funny because I occasionally build scale models, and the hardest scale models to build are always the smallest ones. As they get bigger, they get a little bit harder to manage, but they get much easier to perform operations on. So I'm wondering if it's not like that with the human body. The bigger the piece you lose, the easier it is to attach.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was a lot of fun and it's not the right word, but just her seeing her own leg. Like, can you imagine?
Oh yeah, I would freak out.
It's just like your mind has, like, how your mind works. Like it has to kind of trick you into making it feel like everything makes sense. Like that's one of those situations where it just shuts down. It's like, I don't know how to make sense of that. It's supposed, our leg's right here, right? Obviously. How could it be over there too?
Yeah, no, it's a crazy thing. And like her reaction to it is so perfect. It's like, just please put it back on. Please, can you put it back on? That's how I would do it.
The other thing here with this, when they teased this water slide, it kind of felt like it was going to be the mass casualty event, but it feels like it's not that, huh? It's turning into something different.
Yeah. I expected a flood of people, no pun intended, to come over to the hospital, but it looks like we're only going to get these two.
And then the real thing that's going to be going on is the missing son, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing with that, because it felt like they resolved that this episode too, with Emma figuring out that the kid's okay on social media.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but that's what it felt like. At least during as the thing was unfolding, it felt like that was like where the real drama was going to come up. But like you said, maybe not.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of said, like, there's not a lot of interesting patient stuff in this episode, because like this guy, he's got an issue with his finger, and he's got like 25% of his lung collapsing or something, but it seems like he's going to be all right. He's up and moving around. He's going to surgery. It'll be fine. And his son's been found. If his son wasn't found this episode, I think I'd be a little more worried. But yeah, there's not much else to do there, it seems.
Is Park the Shark a character we met before, or is...
No, not as far as I'm aware. He's brand new. He's an orthopedic surgeon, which I guess, they really needed a specialist for this one. Garcia was not going to cut it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, if I just forgot, like he did something in the first season or whatever, and I just forgot about it.
I don't think so.
I mean, if you give him a nickname and you have it, you show that there's like this, kind of weird reverence, like something important he's going to do something important, right? Or you think not? Yeah,
I mean, he might, but I'm not sure it's going to be this season. This might be a setup for like, okay, let's introduce this new character. We think we've got a fun dynamic that we can introduce here with him, and then we'll play with that next season.
Could make sense.
That's my guess. But I will say, like, this guy, he is all business. First of all, do you know who Lou Ferrigno is?
Yeah, that's the guy who used to he played the Hulk on the TV show, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he was an actor. Is still an actor and a bodybuilder.
I can't remember the full story, but he was he deaf? Is that what it was?
Yeah. He was, and still is, I presume. I don't know. Modern miracles of medicine. Who knows? But this is his son, apparently. Lou Ferrigno Jr. plays Dr. Park. I thought that was a fun little detail. But I will say this guy, I don't know what they're doing up there in the OR, but this guy doesn't seem like he should be in a teaching hospital because he has zero patience for questions that are not at his level.
Yeah, what do you think they were going with? I mean, like I was almost taken out of it a little bit because I was like, what is Whitaker's reaction to his presence here what is that supposed to make me understand about this situation or this character or these characters? Like, it was weird.
It feels a little bit like calling in the Wolf, right? Like Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it was. Yeah,
right.
They were just saying
like he's
this
the
is
serious guy.
Yeah, like this is. I mean, not that when you see someone's leg has been disconnected from their body, that you don't already innately understand that this is a serious situation.
Right.
If you didn't pick up on it from that, this guy's presence tells us, hey, this is a pretty serious thing that we're going to try to do here when we put this leg back on her body.
Yeah, for sure. I think once Ogilvy gets some experience under his belt, him and Ogilvy are going to be good friends. They've both got a similar bedside manner, let's say.
Yeah, let's see.
Then we got, the guy I was talking about before, the 42-year-old male, 20-foot fall. I don't think they even gave him a name. They were not very concerned with names for these patients. They knew. They were like, yeah, they're going to be around one episode and then they're gone. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's got blunt chest trauma and degloving of his ring finger because apparently he was trying to hold on to his son when the water slide collapsed and couldn't, and it took a little bit of a skin with it. Yeah,
we were talking about this a little bit before we started, and that is just one of the hardest things for me to look at.
Yeah.
Is a degloving.
Yeah, the degloving. They did it in the very first episode of this show. And I was so angry. But yeah, they keep doing it.
I was trying to remember because I think I told you last week that, my wife tried to watch this for exactly one episode and quit. Said she couldn't do it. I was trying to think if it was because of the degloving or not.
That would have done it for me. But I got through it somehow.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't. It just looks so incredibly wrong.
And they keep showing it too. That's the thing. Like,
oh yeah,
that degloving of the leg they showed like twice maybe. In this, it's hilarious because like they show it up close a whole bunch. And then in some shots, he's got his arm just sort of bent up. And at the bottom of the shot, you can see the hand. It's not focused on it, but you can see the hand with the missing skin. And it's just in like half of these shots. Too much. But I think he's going to go to the OR, right? He's got a partially collapsed lung.
Yeah. Like you said, they might not stick around at all. Yeah.
I don't see it happening. And then you got, his son was missing and he was super worried about that. And, what do you know? In comes an 8-year-old boy who's got, was also thrown off the water slide. He fell 7 feet. He landed in a tree. He's got neck trauma. This might be his kid. Nope.
But
it's not his kid.
But then there was also mention that there might have been one child who died. Like, then they say the police said that there was one.
I think so.
Yeah. Like there was one casualty and it was a child. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about during the episode. I was like,
oh no.
So he's gonna come through this and find out his son actually died.
So you're saying Emma contacted the police, found out that they found his son, but she didn't bother to ask if he's okay?
No, it was just whenever they were talking about. There was, I think Dana said that she heard from the police that there was one child who didn't make it. You know what I mean? So like that was just in the air. The idea that maybe he's going to make it through this to find out his son didn't make it. But
gotcha. Yeah. No, he probably still is super worried because I don't think they told him yet that his son has been found. So
yeah.
We'll see. I guess maybe he's going to go off to surgery without knowing whether his son's okay. which I feel bad about. But the operation on the boy was interesting. You talked about it sort of in the intro here. The slash trach that Dr. Al performs, that it's the first time for her. It's a fascinating procedure to me because, as she states, it's a tactile procedure. At some point, it becomes like, I can't actually see what I'm doing. All I can do is feel my way through this as I go through the parts of the anatomy that I learned in school and have, seen in the sim labs and stuff. But like, that's just, I think about like playing guitar and the muscle memory involved in that. After hours and hours of practice. You can do it blind. You can do it without looking at the frets, but I can't imagine you would ever get that way performing these complicated procedures. I guess you do, though.
Yeah, I think you pretty much do with anything that you do over and over again.
Yeah, that's wild.
But yeah, I thought that did really, it was one of those fun things, like where she's saying the steps out loud because she's reminding herself of what she learned, not just to tell us about it. And then, she puts her finger in there, then that is tactile. Now we understand why she's doing this. So I thought that all of that was done really well, because we kind of have an idea of what's going on. And then we also get the understanding of why it's important. And also, like I said, this idea that she didn't do it for any other reason but because she was trying to save this kid's life. And even though that a lot of this episode's about how they have all this experience, it kind of comes through between Santos and Langdon, which we'll talk about in a bit. But like, even in that situation, there's still times when they have to do something that they have no idea whether it's going to work or not. They just sort of have to trust that they can pull it off because it's a life or death situation.
And how many times have we seen Robbie do something like this, where it's like, this is a very unorthodox thing you're doing, but it's required because there's no other option.
Yeah, that's pretty much his whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, all of his coolest scenes are when he does exactly that kind of thing.
Totally.
And there's at least one other person in the room who's experienced and educated and is worried about his decision to go in that direction.
I do love that dynamic. I'm not going to lie. It does get me like my pulse racing every time. I'm like, yes, Robbie, do it.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to watch it.
Right. Get that straw from the cafeteria and stick it wherever you need to stick it, man. Just make it work. Okay, here's a patient that I did not expect to see, frankly. At least I didn't expect to see walk under his own power in through those doors, and that's Duke. This is Robbie's biker friend. Finally made it in. He was missing for half this season, more than half this season, and I fully expected him to come in on a stretcher.
Yeah, I thought that was a fair idea to have. I mean, I thought they're laying it on so thick. They even do it here. They say, leaving after a shift is bad news, bad idea. And
only
like I said, they're laying it on thick that this whole idea of him going on this motorcycle trip is a bad choice.
Yeah.
But he's here. He walked in on his own accord. He was not injured or something worse.
Yeah, I just keep thinking, like, okay, what are they doing with the motorcycle thing? Because like you said, they're laying it on so thick, but we really will not have any resolution this season for it, because Robbie's not leaving until this shift is over, and the show won't, the season won't end until the shift is over either. So
yeah,
we won't find out until next season the fate of this trip.
Yeah, which makes you think it's not about the trip at all. But then what is it about? Yeah,
it feels like some kind of misdirect, but it's like a huge misdirect if it is. It's like not somebody just pointing and saying, look over there, but like blaring sirens and flashing lights and throwing things. And it's almost too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh man.
I mean, part of that is just the kind of show that this is, you know what I mean? Like in the fact that it's happening in real time and they have to make sure you pick up on details and things like that. But the other part is yeah, it's like almost too much.
Yeah. I was a little worried about this guy because there's another actor that I recognize. He's from The Walking Dead. Did you watch much of The Walking Dead?
I did. I was wondering. I was just looking this up right now because that's something I meant to do. Was like, what do I know this guy from? Because he's familiar.
Yeah, his name is Jeff Kober. He played the leader of the Claimers in The Walking Dead. If you remember those guys who like threatened Daryl, and they were kind of a biker gang themselves. Like,
yeah,
he plays those dudes.
Yeah, I was gonna say he seems like the kind of guy that isn't acting, right? Like he just is a kind of a biker dude in real life, but that's probably not true because he's probably just good at it. But I'm
sure
that makes total sense.
I did expect him to sort of be a handful, to be way more surly than he was. He's definitely not playing that same character, which I liked.
Yeah, so
that's good. I don't know what to make of him. He's got a sore throat and some hoarseness on and off. His vocal cords look good, but they're going to do an x-ray on his chest to see what they can find. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. It's important that he is Robbie's friend, you know? Maybe the only person we've seen that Robbie is actually friends with.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, right? And it's someone that Robbie looks up to.
Yeah.
In a way, at least for his knowledge of being able to bring his bike, you know, to restore his bike, which is important to him. So yeah, like part of the thing I was thinking about with this was like he's probably got a diagnosis, something that he's not prepared for. Yeah. That's going to hit him like a ton of bricks, but then also he's in a unique position to give, because I guess this is as good a time to talk about it as any. Like Robbie is kind of sucks this season, doesn't he?
He certainly sucked this episode.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I feel like that's the trend. Like, it's kind of like last season we saw him dealing with something. This season we're like getting a different view of who he is. Like he's more complicated than what we saw in the first season. There's some red flags, let's say, right?
Yeah, and the way he's like bottling all that stuff up, and then when it does kind of leak out, the way it's affecting other people, that's where it becomes like, oh man, why don't you do something about this, you know?
And I feel like with most of his colleagues and his employees, and you know, that are under him at this place, like he's not going to be receptive to anything he gets from them, because that's just, they have a relationship, you know, a professional relationship, and there are boundaries that are built into that. So like, I figure this guy is the guy who can give him something about himself that he needs to, you know, he's going to have to, a piece of the puzzle to solve whatever's going on with him, because he's, like I said, I don't think the point is that we're supposed to think like this guy sucks, but you know, that doesn't change the fact that he's kind of sucking in a lot of situations, you know, this season.
Yeah, he's giving people like a hard time. That's never good. I don't know. You could be right. There could be some sort of life experience. And the thing you said that really like resonates with me is this is the one guy that he looks up to, that he respects, and not in just like a professional way. It's like a personal respect. And that could be really valuable in sort of changing his mind about what he's about to do. And if worse comes to worse, I guess he could go outside and sabotage his bike in a way that Robbie couldn't really fix.
Oh, I hope that's why he's here.
Yeah. He's been faking hoarseness for 6 months now to stop this ride.
There'll be like a coda at the end, like a closing post-credit scene where he just walks in and gives like Robbie's carburetor to Dana and says, well, the trip's off.
Yeah.
And you just Robbie can't fix it himself, so the whole thing's torpedoed.
I love it. God, I hope that's the way it goes. Let me ask you this. I know you should know this because you yourself are a doctor. I think you're just a doctor of YouTube, though. But maybe you'll know. You go through the nose to get to the vocal cords. That seems like a longer trip than necessary. Why? Can you think of any reason why you would do that?
Well, I cannot. I mean, we do have tonsils. There's a different. I'm trying to think of what the anatomy is actually like, because you breathe and you through your mouth you breathe and you also take in food, and so there's a lot of part of your goes to your stomach, part of it goes to your lungs. Like there's that whole different directions that things go.
All connected for sure. I'm just like, I guess if you want to see the whole airway, like maybe they're not just checking the vocal cords, maybe they're checking the entire airway. But like his problems with his vocal cords, I don't know, they're doing something with vocal cords too, because every time they intubate, they're always like, watch the vocal cords. Don't puncture the vocal cords.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I was going to say it's crazy that we've seen so much of the vocal cords this season, and I still don't really understand how that all works. Like, you know what I mean? Because when you see it on the screen, it looks like giant.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at it with this little miniature camera. But in reality, like that stuff I might just, my scale on how everything is put together might just be incorrect. Like, I don't know. I can't really imagine. I don't want to imagine what I look like inside there.
Fair enough. I'm sure we have some doctors who could tell us why you go in through the nose, but I'm curious.
Yeah, that's a good question that I don't have an answer to.
All right. Let's talk about our favorite patient. My favorite patient, Becca, Dr. King's sister. Turns out she has a urinary tract infection. It's being treated by meds. But the source of the infection is a big surprise to Mel. Turns out she's got not only does she have a boyfriend named Adam, but they've been having sex, lots of sex.
It's the summer of love.
Yeah. Why hasn't she told her sister about her boyfriend? How long has this been going on?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, not in the sense that why. I mean, obviously, everything else aside, that's something that's personal for her, because that was sort of the way in, right? Was that Langdon said that he didn't have to tell Mel, that what was going on, and so that idea of privacy and just having your own life, because they do have a really strange relationship, but just because of the way that things played out, right?
Yeah,
they sort of have a codependent situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Becca and Mel.
But I think of them as being very close and sharing a lot. And so that's why I'm surprised by the fact that Mel didn't know about this.
Yeah, and I think that's why Mel will also. I think that's why it will also be interesting to see how Mel reacts to this.
Right, because we don't really get to see that. She's sort of just stunned and stands there.
Yeah, that was one thing about this episode that was a little bit frustrating, was that they had so much tension around this deposition, and we found out so little about what actually happened.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about that, because there's like sort of a walk and talk scene with her counsel, where counsel says, look, you did fine. They were very aggressive with you. I'm surprised by that, but you did fine. It's not going to affect your career at all. Trying to tell her, like, relax, but she's so not relaxed even after this deposition is over. Which, does that mean she said something she felt like she shouldn't have? They really don't tell us anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the obvious thing that's there is that what she actually says, the one thing that she says, which is that they made me seem incompetent. Like that's the part that's really difficult for her. But I think that if she did say something that would jeopardize it, I think that the tone from the lawyer would have been different. I think the lawyer was saying like, this is just something that happens. They're pieces of garbage for conducting themselves the way they did. But, you know, she didn't seem like she was doing damage control.
No, you're right. You're right. So she must have done, you know, reasonably well.
But it doesn't really matter how she did because we already knew that there were no consequences. It was more about how she felt about it, and she obviously feels terrible.
Yeah, you can see that when she like basically avoids talking about it. Everybody asks her, you know, how'd the deposition go? And she's like, where's Becca?
Yeah, I mean, that's all she could talk about was the deposition for the entire season. And now she is looking for something to distract away from it and not talk about it at all.
Yeah. It's interesting trying to get into her head sometimes because she can be sort of hard to read too. How much of this like evasion of answering that question do you think is just an urgency to get back to her sister who she had to leave in the middle of an exam? And how much of it is, like you said, avoiding just, you know, looking for something to distract her from how poorly she feels she did in that scenario?
I mean, when I was watching it, I didn't really know, but now that we're talking about it, I feel like it's mostly, I think that they show us that because this is a huge thing. Like, I didn't mean to like just move past this situation with Becca and her boyfriend and the sex and everything. I think that's a pretty huge thing that she didn't know about it. And her reaction, I think, tells us that there's something like she's somewhere else. Mel is, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's really something that she's stuck in something inside of her own head. Like she's not fully present at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big bombshell to drop. I also wonder, I am empathetic to whatever condition Becca has, and I worry in those scenarios whether someone, you know, with her mental capacity could be taken advantage of by someone. That was like one of the big thoughts going through my head is like, is this 100% consensual? Is this relationship okay? Or is there something I should be worried about here? And I don't know if that's going through Mel's head as well, if she's concerned about her sister that way, or if this is more just like a surprise to her or what.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that, right? I mean, of course,
the way Becca reacts and feels about it, I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything weird going on. She doesn't seem disturbed at all by it.
Yeah, and I guess like that's what it'll come down to, because like you said, you can't help but wonder, and it's not really even because you understand Becca's situation. It's more about just because of the way that Mel treats her. She infantilizes her because that's the way she deals with the situation. So yeah, you can't. I don't think you can watch that and not wonder about that, right? That maybe something is afoot. Even though, you know, Becca is an adult and she is able to, you know, make decisions for herself and everything else. It's like, it's more about, like I said, it's more about the way Mel thinks about her and the way that Mel deals with her. And, I do wonder
if there's going to be some change of her perception of her sister because of this, right? And not in a negative way, in like a positive, like, oh, I didn't realize she was, you know, she had like this part of her life that she wanted to explore.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because with I brought up this idea of codependency out of the situation because like that's the thing. Like, what if Becca finds someone that is a partner and they build a life together? Then what does Mel do? You know what I mean? Like her life has been so focused on taking care of her.
She probably rules the world. Like someone who can take care of their sister full time and also be a doctor. You take the sister out of the equation, they're just going to rule everything because they're that good.
Yeah, because I mean, there was that scene with the guy who ended up running from the cops earlier that was kind of hitting on her earlier in the season. He's like, what do you like to do? And, she can't answer any of those questions because that's all she does is take care of Becca when she's not at work.
Right.
It comes up all the time, or not even like, take care of, but like, that's what she thinks about, like, what do you do for fun? Oh, I just like to go out with my sister and she likes Kennywood in the zoo or whatever,
Yeah, we'll see how that develops. I'm very interested to see her reaction next episode.
Yeah, because you're always kind of rooting for Mel, so it's like,
oh yeah, I'm rooting for her and Langdon to hook up, even though I know he's married, but it happens.
We never met his wife, so we have no investment there, really. I mean,
exactly. Maybe they'll introduce her and I'll be like, okay, no, I like her better.
If they wanted us to feel bad about it, they would have had to have her come in and bring something to the ER or something and let us at least get some eyes on her.
Right? But they can only do that after Mel and him hook up. Because then it really works. All right, let's talk about Kidney Stones guy real quick. Ogilvy brings him a book. It's James Baldwin's Notes of a Native Son. I guess this is a compilation of essays that he wrote many, many, many years ago, which focus on themes such as race, identity, and Black experience in not only America, but the EU, the UK as well. I've not read this book. I'm surprised that Ogilvy has read this book.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I was like, okay, so what does this say about Ogilvy? Is this a thing where like they just use it? Is this really about this character, or is this just a thing that they wanted to interject this book into the narrative? Sort of in the same way that they did with the deportation thing in the last episode and things like that. Is this another kind of, because I mean, so far it's a surprising book for Ogilvy to have for the way that he sort of interacted with other human beings in the process of doing his job.
I mean, he claims does he claim this, or did I put this on him, without his consent, that he claims curiosity about Mr. Knox and his weight?
That's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I could see him being interested in other people's experiences. And in that way, maybe this makes sense.
Yeah.
Even though I do still believe he's a bit of a sociopath and doesn't quite know how to interact or feel the same things that other people feel. I do think there's a curiosity there about things.
Well, that would be something. That would be something that's good about him.
About
something we can build on.
I'm with you, man.
I did sort of think about him in a different light in this episode, where when he's up on the helipad and he kind of breaks down a little bit to Robbie. That humanized him a little bit.
Yeah. I agree. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
He got to deliver one of the best lines of the episode, where he says, "I don't think it's healthy for anybody."
I think we can all agree with that. I think Robbie might even agree with that if he had time to sit and think about it.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever say it out loud, but he'll.
And then we've got the final patient who we really don't know anything about. It's Helen Torres. She's got a swollen calf. That's pretty much it. I don't know. Nothing to say about her this episode. We'll find out more next episode. Yeah, they didn't really give us much to work with there yet. She's just something to pop up next episode. All right, well, I'm going to give you the pick of the doctors to start talking about.
I think probably Mohan is probably the one that I thought about a lot, and it's not just her; it's also the way that Robbie fits in with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about that. What do you think about her having a panic attack, which I sort of recognized right away? I'm like, I don't think this is a heart attack. This feels more like a panic attack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they're going with that necessarily. This thing with her mother, I guess that's at the center of it, right?
Yeah, is it? So I don't know why, but to me, this episode felt different with her mother. Like the call to the hospital and the calls to her cell phone felt way more urgent than previous episodes.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because I wasn't sure if it was just me or not. But yeah, like what? Because I mean, part of this is that Robbie is completely kind of a dick about it, but at the same time, like, why would she be having this panic attack? Like, why is her mom pursuing her like she, like, I don't really understand what's going on there.
I don't quite either. I mean, the last we knew, she was like selling her house to go off sailing with her boyfriend around the world or something, right? So Mohan's mom.
Yeah, that seemed like the thing that she had the issue with, right? That her mom was trying to live a life, and she had this plan, and now the plan, because her mom is changing up what she's doing, that messes up her plans.
Yeah, do you think maybe she's changing it up again? Like she's worried that, oh, this is another call to say yet again, hey, I'm not doing the traveling thing. I want you to come to Seattle again or wherever. Could it be that she's worried about that? Like her mom's just such a like flibberty gibbet who oscillates between one thing and another, that like she just never knows. She's never like clear about what's going to happen.
Yeah, like it could be that it's just a plot thing, like where they needed her to be in this situation so that Robbie could have this showdown with her, where we're like, well, that dude, like that's not really cool. What you're doing there.
They've been building it a little bit with like, I don't know, is it a fellowship she's going for? Like she's got several options. She talked, to Dr. Al about that an episode or two ago. It could be that decision that's weighing on her. Like, I have to make this decision. Time is running out. In fact, time has
that would make sense inside of the premise, right? Inside of the construct of the show, is that this is a thing that they'll all do eventually. They'll all have to decide what they want to do.
Yeah,
we certainly see a lot of that with Javadi. So, yeah, like I don't know. Like I said, I found myself a little confused. Like it seemed weird for her to have this reaction. I wasn't sure what was going on with her mom, because like her mom's like calling the desk at the thing. Like she obviously can obviously text her daughter.
I wonder if the texts aren't coming through because they don't have reception.
I forgot about the whole thing being down too.
Systems are down, and then Mohan's like going outside somewhere and ends up getting text. I can't remember, but yeah, no, she's going crazy, like trying to contact her daughter. It feels to me like something bigger is happening. It's not just
I guess the main thing that I think about is, before this, I always thought Mohan was pretty solid across the board. Yep. And that everyone else thought the same thing.
Yeah, I think, is it Robbie?
So whenever Robbie laid into her, it just seemed really strange to me. Like, I was like, whoa, what's going on with him?
Yeah, it's all about him in that moment, in my opinion. It's like, we saw him. That's the ironic thing here, right? Like the hypocritical thing. He's shouting at her, if you can't handle it, get out the kitchen. Whitaker could have walked into that room last year and told that to Dr. Robbie, instead of like sitting down with him and trying to empathize and understand and get him back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a little bit of a trigger here where he sees somebody doing the thing that he did last year, and he's so like guilty and shameful. He feels so guilty and shamed about it that he's lashing out at them.
Yeah, and he's kind of trying to tell her she has to do what he does in order to make it or whatever. Whenever, like I said, like you just said, I mean, the breakdown was like a big part of the first season. So yeah. You know, like shutting down and not dealing with stuff is not necessarily something that you should be teaching to the people who are going to be your successors at some point. Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know that there's a lot of resolution here, or
there's not. They're laying that on. They're really laying a lot of things thick with Robbie this year, but. This is the more intriguing thing, rather than like, you know, him not wearing a helmet and everybody telling him to wear a helmet and all that. This is like, is he going to find anything on that road, on that 3-month trip? Or is he just going to come back the same dude he was before, bottled up, you know, and now like overflowing? Before it felt like it was sort of manageable until, you know, the Pit Fest stuff. And then it feels to me like it has become toxic.
Yeah, I don't think that's an overstatement.
But I did think it was funny when Dr. Al takes him aside and says, no, we need to talk in private. And all they do is step about 8 feet away from the nurse's station. And I'm thinking, oh, in private means away from Perla and Princess.
Yeah.
Because anything they hear
they know how,
is not private.
They know how it works.
Hell yeah. And Dr. Al is right when she, you know, when she kind of not chews him out, but just sort of tells him how it is. She's more right than she knows, actually, because she doesn't know about the breakdown that he had last year.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting, because I like how I led with that. I wonder if the Dr. Al looking. I wonder if they're setting her up for her fall. You know what I mean? Because she was looking pretty sharp throughout this episode, which is always kind of troubling in a dramatic television series format, right?
Well, I will say with every episode, I feel better and better about her taking over.
Right.
That's the thing. She came in, she said, haha, we're going to change everything here. And I feel like over the course of this shift, she is learning the things that need to be changed and the things that maybe need to stay the same, and how the dynamics here work. And this is her first day, so I don't want to like say, hey, she should have it all figured out in 15 hours. But I do feel like she's making good progress, like more than I expected her to.
Yeah.
So maybe I needed to give her a little bit more benefit of the doubt, but she's definitely doing a good job now.
What do you think about Santos? Santos was another one that was kind of hard to get behind her decisions in this episode.
In the show, man, I've not been on Santos. The only time I've been like, fine, Santos was right, was when Langdon had, you know, had the drug problem. But like every other time, it's sometimes she does things that I think are probably right, but she might take them too far. And then other times, like this episode and the last episode, she's just kind of being shitty. Like Langdon is out there doing his best, and everybody else in this department is recognizing that. Langdon
except for
making it
Robbie.
work. Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody but you and Robbie are recognizing that. Dana's coming up to him and saying, damn, man, you have such a good support network. That no wonder you're doing so awesome. And Santos just refuses to acknowledge that he's putting in the work. It's not, that's the thing that really pissed me off this episode, when she said, like, he just waltzes back in here and suddenly I'm a pariah. He didn't just waltz back in. He spent a fucking year or 9 months or whatever getting his drug habit under control, working with institutions and his family, and like, he's putting in work. That's all you can ask. How else does he prove that he's doing the right thing and on the right path?
Yeah, it's difficult. And I wouldn't disagree with anything you're saying there, but I think, yeah, she's making it personal, which is a mistake.
She's making his recovery about her. That's kind of fucked up.
And I think that it's fair to say that if someone did what he did, then you need to be careful. He's going to have to prove himself. Just saying that he did what he did it's difficult, right? It's a difficult situation because he did break the trust. You know what I mean? That's on him. But yeah, Santos, I think with her, it's just I don't know. Like I find her I find her to be a lot more compelling in this season. Like in the first, I think she was more of a, she was kind of a little too. She was there to be kind of like show what would happen if you come in thinking you know everything, and then you're gonna learn. The world's gonna teach you, kind of situation, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I find her more compelling here, but she was obviously. I mean, not in this episode, this season, but here she was obviously just being petty, which is never good. And what did you think about them having Garcia be the one to point it out to her?
I think that's smart. As far as like just writing goes, she's clearly got a thing for Garcia more so than Garcia has for her, I would say. She wants to take it to the next level, and so her getting slapped down by the person that she respects probably the most and likes the most makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. What was the thing that she said? If you want to have sex and eat ramen in bed, I'm your girl. If not, talk to a therapist.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Langdon again, right? Clearly this is the thing she always does. So yeah, no, she's here's where I'll give her the benefit of the doubt though, a little bit. Because I do think she acts pretty shitty most of the time. I think the reason Langdon is not a pariah to everyone else, except for Robbie, is because they did have a lot more trust in him, and they did have a lot more of a relationship with him. She doesn't know this guy. This guy's just a drug addict who shouldn't be working in the hospital in her mind. So yeah, I see why like true. She might take more offense at like, I did the right thing. This guy shouldn't be practicing medicine, and I'm the one who's being told to chill. This is not fair. I get it, but also like, just read the room. Like nobody thinks that your attitude is the correct thing to do here. So you gotta cut it out.
Where do you think they're going with the with Robbie and Langdon? What do you think's going on there? I mean, he's just not bending on it a bit. Like he at least once an episode he knocks him down a peg.
Yeah, I'm. It feels to me like Robbie is just a guy that once his trust is broken, it takes a lot more to earn it back than a lot of these other people. And maybe because he's got some damage that he's himself working through. I mean, we know that's the case, but like in particular, maybe it has something to do with, his inability to forgive Langdon just off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely something brewing there.
I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Like, it doesn't feel like a situation where they're setting Langdon up to fail, right? Like, it doesn't seem like that's what's going on here, is that he's going to build himself back up just to relapse or something.
Yeah, I guess the thing I noticed this episode is Dr. Al has his back. And I don't know if she has his back because he's just making all the right calls because he's a good doctor and has always been. And, you know, his confidence got shaken last episode, but now he's back. Or if she's got his back because she doesn't like Santos' attitude. But I don't think she'd mess around with a patient's life that way. She's not gonna say, yes, this is the right thing to do, just so that Langdon can look good in front of Santos. So,
oh yeah.
But something's developing between them. Not like, I'm not saying there's a romance budding here. I'm just saying like they are starting to see a little more eye to eye and have some respect.
Yeah, that's I thought that my main takeaway was with the back and forth was just that Santos was being petty, and they're both probably, they're both probably throwing out, like they're throwing out things that could work. And Langdon's just coming from a place where he's done this before, and he knows that, because it seems like that has played out several times throughout the not just with him, but with him also, you know what I mean? Like where the students want to do something right away, and then one of the other doctors will say, well, we'll just wait for a bit and see how this plays out. And like there's just experience is important, right?
Oh yeah, totally. And Langdon has quite a bit more.
I guess I was thinking a lot of what she was, a lot of the reason why Dr. Al was siding with him is because she's on that side. Like she's seen that play out before, whereas Santos is still trying to make a career for herself or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did like the mention. You brought it up before. I did like the mention about his support network or whatever Dana said there. Like about the I guess just in a like a big picture kind of way. Like the idea that the reason why he's doing so well is not just because of his decisions and everything else, but because people were there for him and helped him out. I think that is, something the show can make a pretty good case for. I kind of talked about last week about how it's all kind of dystopic, that this is a lot of this stuff is the way that it is just because of the way they decide, the way that our system is set up and all the problems that are inherent and things like that. But I think that has a lot to, drug addiction and recovery and all that. Like there's a lot of that in that as well. And a lot of it is, it's hard to get a good outcome whenever the person doesn't have, that doesn't have something to help, like doesn't have a good reason to be sober. You know what I mean? Like,
like Louis, right? Like you look at that case, and he had nothing to live for. So
yeah, you see that in a human situation. He's not a dumb guy. He is addicted. Like addiction is real. Like that does change your decision making. But like, yeah, like how are you going to get a guy like that to stop doing what he does like almost 24 hours a day?
Yeah.
Because it's necessary for his body. Like, what is the thing that he replaces that with? And for him, he has nothing. He lost his family. He lost his dream of having a family. It's like, it's a good point. Yeah, I thought that was a nice little bit of, just a little bit of a little bit of the human part of it, and the way that it is about trauma. It's the emergency room and everything else, but there's also, there's other stakes involved, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at, actually, this point is like super relevant to Robbie as well, right? Because like, look at how Robbie's trying to deal with his obvious trauma. And the stuff that he needs a support system for, but he refuses to let anybody into that system. And so he's not getting any better. He's getting worse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can almost see it's like a complete inverse pattern for those two guys. And I wonder if that's a bit of why Robbie's pissed at him too, because he sees Langdon doing all the things that he knows he probably should be doing. He probably should be getting some help with all his bottled up feelings and his stress and tension and all that.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I don't know if he knows it.
Right. He probably doesn't.
Yeah, but I think so, because if you're locked in your own head and you're thinking that, I understand what people are telling me, but if they were me, they would understand why I'm not doing any of the things that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you see someone who actually is changing and getting better, that's threatening, whether you realize it or not, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would think so. I don't know. Complex. I do like those complex dynamics, though. The stuff they've introduced here in season 2 with all of that is really good, I think. Speaking of complex dynamics, how about Javati and her mom?
That one is maybe not so complex. It's kind of straightforward.
Yeah, her mom.
Her mom's crazy, overbearing, and it's not easy, right?
Yeah. No, it's I liked the thing that Javati says, where she comes out of, this room with Roxy, where she's dying. She's got, minutes to live, maybe. And she's thinking all these kids want is just more time with their mom. And all I want is less. And how weird, how awful of a dynamic that is.
Yeah, that was good, because when she comes out, you think, well, she's new. She's not used to seeing patients die yet. And that wasn't what it was at all. I mean, it played a part in it, but
sure.
The thing that really was disturbing her was just that they have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think it's I think that it's a nice setup, though, because her mother is not just a random crank. She's someone who is very good at her job and respected in her community of peers and everything else, right? So, at least from her point of view, it makes sense what the pressure she's putting on her daughter makes sense, because she probably put that same pressure on herself and it paid off and whatever, but at the same time, it sucks.
Do you follow the Olympics, Pete, the Winter Olympics?
I haven't watched this cycle at all, just because I don't generally watch like network TV or whatever, like that equivalent here.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't follow any of it, but I did hear the story of the woman who won gold in women's figure skating for the first time in like 25 years or however long it's been for the US. And her whole thing is very similar to Javati's stuff here. Like, she grew up like practicing figure skating and got quite good, and she was being coached by her father, and her father was just a complete overbearing asshole, apparently. And that made her quit. Like, she just straight up quit, said, I'm not doing this anymore. And then a few years later, she comes back and says, okay, I really like figure skating. I want to be the best, but if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. And she talked with her father and said, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat, cheeseburgers and shit, or do whatever I want. It's I'm going to train the way I want to train. I wonder if Javati needs something like that, because I see McKay's advice here to go talk to your mother. And I'm like, oh, okay. You had really good advice for this kid, not so much for Javati, because her mom is not going to be receptive to that. But yeah, maybe she needs a big dramatic statement. Like, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm leaving the ER. I'm not going to be a doctor. To just shock her mother into paying attention, to realizing like this is not good for her, and not just not good for her, but it's not working is the problem.
Yeah, I wonder what the fundamental lesson is, because on the one hand, Javati wants to be a doctor. She does the TikTok or thing that she does, like, she's into it. But she's not into this extra added pressure, right? And so, I wonder what the major revelation will be there for them. but yeah, I agree. I don't think her mom's going to come around. Maybe she will, down the road. Maybe if she talked to her, that would be something that she could eventually wrap her head around. But I think it would just be confrontation, and it would be like, you don't know what you want. You're a kid, you know what I mean? You're however old she is, like you this is so important, you can't even understand it, so you're going to do what I say, basically, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know if that works super well with children.
Not usually.
I think that's pretty much it for the doctors. There's a couple of other things that I just want to mention that I like. Number one being that chopper chats are becoming a thing. Like every time somebody goes out to meet the med-vac helicopter or whatever, there's always some like big conversation that happens while they're waiting. Was this a thing in like ER? Did you watch ER? Because I never did.
I did, but I couldn't tell you if that. I don't think so. Okay. But I guess this is like, practically speaking, like that makes sense, because I feel like the more time we spend inside the ER, the more valuable the moments we get outside of there feel. So
true. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally get it. Like I like that they introduced this to this season, and it has had paid off in interesting ways. Like I said, we brought it up earlier talking about Ogilvy, right?
Yeah.
It's not being this way of doing things not being healthy for anyone,
And then he's just like, well, here's her leg. Proving his point.
I was thinking about this whenever I was getting ready to do this. I was thinking, like, what is the idea of them doing 12-hour shifts?
Oh, just in general of a doctor doing 12? I don't know.
Like, why would that be like the optimal? Lot. Because like I was, like I know my mom, like I told you, my mom worked as an ER doctor, and I know she liked doing 12-hour shifts because it was just more money in one go. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like that, like for her as a nurse, like that was 100% the motivating factor was, and she even worked nights for a while, even though she hated it, because you got time and a half whenever you worked 12-hour shifts at night. But I was just wondering, like for the actual business of running a hospital, why would they be like 12 hours is so much better than 8 hours? We need to get everyone to work for 12 hours at a time instead. It just seems like, he points out here, it just seems like it's a little bit too long.
Yeah, no, you can't focus for that long. And it doesn't seem like they get many breaks, or at least the days we've seen here, they've not had many breaks. But I think it probably ultimately saves you money, because you've got some people at least, who are going to be on salary, and having two shifts means that they get paid the exact same amount for doing 4 hours extra work, where you'd have to pay a third shift.
Well, I feel 100% sure that it makes the hospital more money.
Oh, well, that's why they do it. It's not good for the doctors. No way.
That's why I was just saying. I don't think that. I mean, I wondered if there was like an explanation of why that it's better for patients, because it seems like it is just not. Like there's just no way that. So. Yeah. Because it's sort of like the thing. It's like, well, they're supposed to make decisions, and they're supposed to be treating people and making decisions for that, but they're actually making decisions on how to get a bigger dividend for the shareholders, right, or whatever.
Yeah, for the private entity that owns the hospital. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's a crazy system. I can't focus on podcasting for 12 hours. Like, you should see me 12 hours into a Groundhog Day marathon. It's ridiculous. So I don't know how they do it. I really don't. That's what I said. Like, this show has really given me, and I know this happened 20 years ago for most people who watched ER, given me a total newfound respect for doctors and nurses, and honestly anybody who works in the healthcare industry aside from the insurance companies. And the pharmaceutical companies, like everybody else, A+, 4.5 out of 4 stars, and they're gold stars.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. It's so normalized. It's just like, well, that's the way it has to be, you know. Like doctors, like you give doctors, you feel that way about doctors because it's such a difficult thing that they're asked to do. But then at the same time, it's like, why are we asking them to do it that way? You know?
Yeah, right.
It's sort of like I saw this post this week where, you know, there was this old man, he's like in his 80s, and he was doing DoorDash or something because he was paying for his wife's medical treatment. And the thing that I saw was the thing that was saying, oh, well, this shows how great people are because there was a GoFundMe that, you know, got him a bunch of money. That's great. Yeah. And that is good. I mean, I'm glad that he's not doing DoorDash anymore, but it just made me think like, what about, why would he have to do that? Like, what if there was just a universal way that to guarantee that his wife was able to get her care without it causing him to have to go and work a gig job? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if the 60 plus years that he put in breaking his back to help society counted for anything, literally anything?
Yeah. It's really, crazy, it's really frustrating. I mean, especially if you've never been outside of the US, like I can understand it. But if anybody who's ever been to Europe and saw how that, it's just not like that because the government pays for that and takes care of that. And it's not perfect. I'm not saying it is, but it's like, it's just such a more sensible way to deal with it. You know, like people should not be profiting off of life and death situations.
Yeah.
Like it's just so basically, it's just so cut and dry, straightforward. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That, I don't know, man. The word that you used, frustrating, it just like nails it. Because every day I think about this. As I get older, I'm starting to think, okay, eventually this stuff is going to happen to me. And is anything going to have changed by then? Because I don't want to be in that position.
It's going to be more expensive. That's the thing that's going to change.
Great.
And more precarious. Yeah. And there'll be less options. These are the things that I've seen in my actual life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem that bad 30 years ago. It just, you know, like it just keeps getting worse and worse and more expensive, and like it's terrible.
Yeah. Now we're hitting a breaking point with some of this stuff where it just can't continue the way it's been going because there's too much stress. There's too much pressure on everybody. Something's got to give. It's like Robbie, you know, too much pressure. He's going to shout. It's like Mohan. She's going to have a panic attack. Society's going to have a panic attack. That's no good.
Yeah.
Another thing that I found interesting is they shut down the gift shop and they drafted the employees to go run stuff for them. I like that. Mm-hmm. That was a fun bit. I don't know how much they're getting paid for that, but
it's another one of those things, right? But I thought they were fun whenever they show them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised that the woman that they brought in, that Dana called in for the to, you know, fix the whole analog situation. I was surprised she didn't play a larger role or hasn't played a larger role yet. Like most of this episode, it was just her wanting to smoke a cigarette, basically.
Which I thought was fun, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. She doesn't have a lot to do yet.
Like she came in like this badass that was going to whip everything into shape. Mm-hmm. So it just felt like there was going to be something. And then again, like it was another one of those situations where Dana uses her, makes it seem like the stuff is for her because her insurance would cover. It's another opportunity to do that. But like at the same time, I expected her to, you know, pull off some miracle, and I expected that's still coming, right?
Yeah, it might still be. Might just have to wait. Got 5 more episodes. Another little thing I liked is Langdon taking responsibility for paying and arranging Louis's funeral if no one is there to do it for him, because we know he didn't have anything in the way of family. It's just it's a really nice moment.
Yeah, and that's a completely different situation, right? Because, Louis, because he has no one there, you can't expect much for him as far as like, what his burial or whatever. But, that's a situation where, if Langdon wants to do that, it's expensive, but he can do that, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like if he didn't, nothing would, Louis is already dead, basically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The whole idea of actual life and death situations not being able to be resolved because someone can't pay for it is like completely different in my mind.
Yeah, I'll say if I have no family and I kick the bucket, do whatever you want to I don't care.
Yeah.
Throw me in the street, fill a pothole with me. I don't care. Whatever, man. At least do some good. Maybe you can do some good with my body. Maybe there's some piece of it somebody would want as a souvenir. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we're moving ahead in time enough that you're going to be able to just chuck you into the recycler and
not quite
in the spaceship or whatever.
I don't think so. But who knows? Who knows? All right, let's jump into just a little bit of feedback here. We had a piece of feedback from Michael, and I really wanted to get this in because I don't think he'd have another opportunity on this show. But I don't know if you've been following the sinkhole stuff that Aaron and I have been talking about with the Swiss cheese Philadelphia.
I've heard you guys talking about it. It wasn't something that I was familiar with outside of your conversations, though.
Okay. Apparently they got a big sinkhole problem there. And as a geologist, Michael found his moment. He jumped in there and said, I think I know why this is happening. Apparently his first thought always when he hears sinkholes is limestone, because he gets some acid rain or whatever. And this is how like caves and stalactites and stalagmites and stuff form. You get that slightly acidic rainwater going through that limestone, and over time it dissolves the rock. And if the rock is close enough to the surface, you get sinkholes. So that could be what's happening here. I did not know that Pittsburgh was built on a bunch of limestone, but I assume half this country is built on a bunch of limestone.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's not something that I knew of the lore. Like one of my favorite things about Pittsburgh lore, I mean, Pittsburgh used to be the Steel City, right? Like that's still what they call it. There used to be just all
Steelers, right?
Yeah, it was just a big dirty air. Like the air was so dirty. It was basically just smokestacks and steel manufacturing, and that's all gone now. It's all been gone for a long time. And it's sort of just Rust Belt now. Most of those places around there, like whenever the industry left, everything just sort of nothing ever took its place, right? But one of my favorite things, one of the craziest bits of Pittsburgh lore that I heard living there was that whenever that was when it was going full blast, like when the mills were at their height, the rivers, because the Three Rivers is also there, where the two rivers converge to create the Ohio River or whatever. They would burn.
The
back in
rivers
that time.
Would burn?
Yeah, because they were so polluted that like they would just the water going down the river would just be on fire at times.
That's a sight I can't imagine.
And there was also a thing like where how you would wear like men like where what you wore outside was somewhat men would wear a collared shirt whenever they would do things or whatever. So people would wear white shirts, and from walking around, like when they came home, like they would no longer be white anymore. They would be gray because the air was so dirty. Wow.
No wonder the chairs are overflowing in the pit.
Yeah.
Breathe that stuff for generations.
It cleaned up pretty well. But yeah, it sounds pretty crazy.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Pete for being back here for his second week. I appreciate you filling in for Aaron's absence.
Yeah.
If you would like to tell people where they can find your stuff, go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I'm not doing anything at the moment, but I'm getting ramped up to do For All Mankind, a show that I've covered in the past, and some other things. So yeah, just YouTube, search for Pete Peppers. I come up right away. Easy to find me.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it. Like I said, Aaron's going to be back next week, so we will be discussing episode 11, 5 p.m. But until then, hope everybody has a great day. Avoid wearing a white shirt in Pittsburgh or walking across the limestone fields. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Thanks for having me.